Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the July 7th work session of the Board of Commissioners. The board met in executive session prior to the meeting about a legal issue, also a human relations issue. Human resources issue, I'm sorry. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. You want to call the roll first? Sure. We'll do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Mr. D'Amelio?
Present.
Mrs. Hall?
Here.
Mr. Siegel? Here. Mr. Holmes?
He's here. He's in the back.
Here, but Mr. McGarrett?
Here.
Mr. Cox?
Here.
Mr. Wexler?
Here.
Mr. Heilman?
Here.
And Mr. O'Leary.
Here. The Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right.
It's all right.
All right, our first presentation is by Tim Denny on giving us an update on the CREC. Good. Tim? Tim got the memo.
I did.
I got mine. It's hell. I had to come from work. It's the first time anyone's ever seen me without a tie. This place.
Nice. I think I saw you at the Oakmont one night without a tie at Christmas.
That's true.
Yes.
Okay.
Good evening, Commissioners. Hope everybody had a nice July 4th. Larry had asked me to give a little 10-minute presentation on where the Community Recreation Environmental Center is. As most of you know, we officially opened 2 years ago and thought it might be an opportunity to not just update the Commissioners, to make you a little bit more familiar with how things are going there, but in a real sense is to pass on a lot of the congratulations that we get. As Larry can attest, because we happened to be up there the other day, and an older couple stopped by from Buck Lane, very well dressed, and they saw us in the parking lot, and as Larry will tell you, we're going on and on about how fantastic this facility was and what a great thing it was for Haverford Township. And they were from Buck Lane, and they said they had lived here for 40-some years and just loved this facility. And I'm guessing they were in their 80s. I don't really know, but they came as a team. And we hear that kind of stuff a lot, that people just are ecstatic about this facility and how proud it makes them to live in Haverford Township. And I thought it was only fair to pass that on to you guys, the Board of Commissioners, because obviously without your support, this facility would never have happened. And it really is a wonderful, wonderful thing that makes Haverford Township stand out. So this is just, I'll just walk you through. This is an overview of the first 2 years of the operation of the Community Recreation Environmental Center. And this is just a picture from 10 years ago, 2004. Some of you recall in 2004, if you were on the board, Steve D'Amelio and Andy Lewis asked me to put together some official recommendations of what we could do with this facility, with this area of acreage. And so it was from that, the latest round. There has been a lot of conversation before that also, but in the last 10 years. So just a reminder of where we were 10 years ago. This is demolition. Jimmy, that handsome-looking guy up front there. This is, again, 7 years ago, June of 7, when demolition began. 2009, when we were beginning construction on the community side. And one of the things when I show this slide to people, I've used it in different presentations, and what I really find pretty amazing is when we did these aerials, Todd Polig and I would split the cost because he wanted them for his purposes, we wanted them for our purposes, and we would have to pay to have somebody fly over and take pictures. And of course, things have changed so much in the last 5 years, and now you can just go on Google and get all the aerials you want, and it's really just an indication of how much things have changed in such a short time. Again, a good-looking group in 2012 when we opened with the recycled basketballs. Kind of a nice picture that someone took of the facility at nighttime. And we often hear people driving by in the Blue Route saying what a neat facility it is and how it reflects so well on the township. This is our mission statement at the time that the architect Martin Kimmel helped us put together. The mission is to create a facility that helps fill the identified need for township-owned indoor space, which serves a wide range of ages and recreational interests, takes advantage of the natural beauty this site provides, allows opportunities to improve our residents' health, is a learning center for environmental stewardship and a model of best practices, strengthens our social fabric, and has a long-range positive impact on our community economically. And what I hope to do with this presentation is just to break up that mission statement and walk you through it. So needed indoor space. We have in our audience tonight, just walked in, this young lady in the white dress here. A lot of people don't know Eileen, and I asked Eileen to come, not to ruin her Monday night, but most people don't know the job Eileen does, and she has perhaps two of the hardest jobs in town. One is she handles all the field permits for all of the youth groups using all of our fields. And as I've often said, you know, if you think the Middle East is tough, you should try issuing field permits to the youth groups in town. And Eileen handles that, and she does a great job with it. And she handles all of our rentals, too. And one of the things that we identified was needed indoor space. And what a lot of people don't know is the number of rentals that we do up at the facility. We've now had over 450 rentals, so we're averaging almost 5 rentals a week. That's a lot of rentals. And they can come from a wide range. Eileen can tell you more about them than I can, but they go from parties to weddings to sweet 16s to things little. I think we had a rehearsal dinner last week there before July 4th. We've had a lot of different kind of 50th anniversaries, some twins who are both 70 years old. We have a 100th birthday party coming up. So a lot of things, and people love the facility. Another thing that needed indoor space has been more than 225 hours of township business, including police training, EMS training, stormwater workshops. So things that the township needs. We've been able to use the facility for that. And that's a lot of hours. You know, that's more hours than you guys have spent in this room for the last 2 years. So that's a lot of hours. And over 1,500 of recreation programming, 1,500 hours of that, which again does two things. It allows us to offer more programs and also frees up the school gyms and places for the community groups to use. So it's worked out very well. I mean, especially considering it's only been 2 years, that's a lot of time and a lot of space. The other part of the mission statement was take advantage of natural beauty. It is a beautiful setting, and we think the architect did just a great job of incorporating the building into the beautiful natural setting that we have up there, and it has served as a model of good stewardship. Improve the public health of the residents. Again, as you see, one of the amazing things I'll show you on the next slide, I think it is the number of people. This is pretty amazing. More than 2,000 residents over the age of 55 are registered to use the walking track and fitness center. And that's more than the number of students at Haverford High School. That's a stunning number. In the world of marketing, they call that market penetration. It's unbelievable that more than 2,000 residents have registered to use the walking track and fitness center. And as some of you may recall, when we first made our proposals, it was really to try to reach out to those over the age of 50, to reach out to women, to try and provide places where they could go and feel comfortable and improve the health, because that's a huge, huge part of our community. And Brian and I often talk about this. We used to feel like, you know, we owned the 3 to 12-year-olds and the mothers who were like 30 to 45. Well, now truly, our second largest constituency is those over the age of 55. It's a stunning change to who our constituents are. So, of the 4,200 total registered users of the track and fitness center, over 60% are female. More than 500 individuals have participated in our adult basketball and volleyball. I'm still trying to get Dave and Bill to join us up there, but we have, and more than 13,000 registered for the total programs that we offered. So it really shows that the residents have taken to the facility, but it's really that top number that I find most stunning. Another part of our mission was environmental stewardship. We've done a number of field trips. We also do our nature series. And the whole idea of just being good stewards of the land, making people more aware of good conservation practices. And especially these days, you hear so much about getting kids outdoors, connecting kids to nature, and how important that is. And study after study has shown that just being outdoors improves your health. Just getting outdoors makes you a healthier person. And exercising outdoors gives you double the benefits of exercising indoors. So there's a lot of benefits, but it also makes them more aware of nature. And by being more aware, they'll also come to understand and appreciate it and protect it more. And again, part of our nature series, we've had a really great response to our Sunday Nature series. This is our walk that we did down to part of the old railroad that goes through Haverford Reserve. So we took a trip down there and walked down there, and we've gotten really nice turnouts from people who, again, normally were not part of our constituency. This one I really like. It's the other part of the mission, strengthen our social fabric. Our goal was to create a community living room. We have a guy, it's not the old guy you see there, but a guy, Gus, who's 85, and this is what he told us. He said, I've lived here for over 50 years, and this facility makes me feel like the township considered me when they built it, more than anything else the township has ever done. And he is up there probably 3 or 4 times a week and just loves it. And we hear that so much, especially from the over 55 crowd, that there's never been anything the township has done that they felt so much they were part of, which again was our goal. You know, pickleball, you see in the middle, it's the fastest growing sport in America for those over the age of 60.
What's it called?
Pickleball.
Pickleball.
Yeah, it was a big thing on in the news just a couple of weeks ago. Apparently, I've been there, but down in the Villages in Florida, apparently there's 80,000 residents there. Well, their tennis courts are virtually empty, and their pickleball courts are jammed. And what pickleball is sort of a hybrid of tennis and ping pong. So it's a smaller tennis court played with almost like a wiffle ball and kind of a wooden paddle. And the idea is it's smaller and slower. And former tennis players, but just people in general, really, really taking to it. It's hugely popular. You should see the numbers we're getting. We were over at Paddock Park on our park tour. There's Rich. And there was about 20 people playing pickleball. If you remember last year, got permission to put and 2 people playing tennis. And it's just it's amazing. I didn't know about it until this woman came to me 2 summers ago and said, could we try this? I said, sure. Long-range economic. I don't know if any of you saw the article in the Inquirer a couple of weeks ago about real estate in Haverford Township. One of the things they mentioned was the new recreational venues in Haverford Township that are attracting people and making this such an attractive place to live. It's also created 25 permanent part-time and full-time jobs. And obviously with all of our rentals and Eileen's great work that she does, we really helping the catering businesses in town. So we feel like that part of the mission statement has also rang true. Our budget, I'm proud to say that with Amy's great help, just last week we got the final reimbursement, the last $14,000 I think it was, on our RACB grant. So that's all together. That's all back. Eileen actually headed up our PETA grant for the geothermal wells that we put in. All that money has been recovered. And as you know from my previous presentation, we were on budget for our construction cost of $7.4 million, which I suspect now when you see that number, it looks pretty modest compared to some of the numbers you're talking about. And fortunately, with good stewardship and Brian's taking care of those numbers, we were on budget for operation in 2013, the numbers that we worked out with Larry and Amy, and we're on budget for the first 6 months of this year. Some of the awards you received, as you know, the Green Parks Award, LEED Gold certification, National Recreation and Parks Magazine listed us the township in the top 10 in the USA for the Green Building Community Greening Award from the Pennsylvania Horticultural Society, and the Land Ethics Award. But I get a kick out of this, not only because I'm standing there with these good-looking young ladies, but also because these are people from Holland, students from Holland, and they contacted us about 6 weeks ago, and they were traveling in the U.S. on a school thing, and they had come across Haverford Township and Swarthmore as 2 outstanding suburbs of Philadelphia. And one of the things about Haverford Township was this facility. And they came and they said, could we see your facility? And they were writing it up as part of their city planning. And they were from Holland. So I thought that's kind of neat. They've heard about us all the way over in Holland. They were really nice people. The other thing about these kids, they walked everywhere. They came to my office in Glendale Road. They had walked there from 69th Street. They were going to leave there, walk up to Haverford Reserve. Then they were going to walk from there back to 69th Street. They walked everywhere. It was nothing to them to walk 5-10 miles. And then this final part, I really think, again, I give the commissioners credit. Township hit a grand slam. These are just some of the things. We asked people to just let us know what they thought, and I think those quotes kind of speak for themselves. So like I said, I really want to give you an update, give you a sense of what the building is about, what we're doing, and as much as anything, just to pass on the congratulations that we hear on a daily basis, because obviously without the support of this board, it wouldn't have happened. And I do think that it has changed the way the residents of Haverford Township view Haverford Township. And I also wanted you to meet Eileen, because Eileen does a bang-up job, and not a lot of people know what a great...
Just going to make a comment. You know, it's was a wonderful accomplishment that this board and this township did back then. But we had so many different people that participated, private residents even prior to 2003, that were on studies and volunteered their time and effort, and that would not have happened if it wasn't for them. That was a lot of free advice. And Gary was one of them, I think. Were you on that, Gary?
Yes, Gary's a big help. Yeah.
Parks Board was another group that was intimately involved in it. In fact, they were originally took me up there when the ball fields were in the steepest slopes. So I thank, and Rich, you were big on that, and I thank you for bringing that to our attention, because that really changed. So I want to thank all the residents and participants, other than the commissioners and the staff here. And Mario, you were involved. And Jimmy, sorry, Jimmy, and Chris. Chris, you were on the committee. Weren't you on the committees? Yeah, right. Originally.
Well, thank you. Stop up anytime. Glad to see you. Thanks.
Did a great job up there. Thanks.
And this is Tim's it's a busy time for Tim. All the playground programs are up and running. And if I'd like to add just one other thing, one of the capital projects that Tim recommended that this board support, that's been very, very instrumental, is the pavilions that they use in the parks. And that's been, if you go in the parks nowadays,
Beautiful.
especially the heat that we've been getting, it's been very beneficial. So
Good job.
great job there, Tim.
Good job. The one in Westgate is beautiful.
Okay, so now we have the police department with the crime stats.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Crime report for the month of June. We had an armed robbery at the Santander Bank in the Manoa Shopping Center. 2 men from Philadelphia were arrested a very short time after this crime. We had a reported home invasion in the 600 block of Foxfield Drive. Over $500,000 in watches and jewelry was taken. We had an indecent exposure in the parking lot of the Giant Supermarket. That investigation led to the arrest of a Haverford man from South Eagle Road. We had a house fire, which was determined to be an arson in the 500 block of Woodland. That investigation led to the arrest of the female homeowner for arson. We had 5 burglaries the month of June. One was in the 800 block of Marion. One was in the 1700 block of Tyson. We have one in the unit block of Holbrook. That investigation led to the arrest of a Drexel Hill man for burglary. We have one in the 300 block of Oxford. That investigation led to the arrest of a Haverford man from the 400 block of Heatherwood Road. And we had another burglary in the 500 block of Strathmore. And we arrested a woman from Clifton Heights and a man from Darby for that crime. We had 7 thefts from autos. All vehicles were unlocked at the time of the thefts. Officers wrote 488 traffic tickets for the month of June. They gave out 255 warnings. They issued 29 non-traffic citations and issued 275 parking tickets.
Thank you. Thank you.
And you're welcome.
Any questions, anyone?
Yeah, I just,
Go ahead.
you know, recently there's been, it's been in the news media, Chief, and actually happened to me today twice. I just want to let senior citizens know, and maybe we could post this somewhere. You're going to receive phone calls from individuals that say they're from the IRS and that you have some sort of a tax problem. This actually happened to me twice today. Twice. I can't believe this country can't stop these individuals from getting our phone numbers and calling us. So then I went online and looked it up, and apparently they didn't get too far with me, but with some senior citizens, they're getting very far. They're getting information, and they're getting money from them, and it's actually going overseas. So they're asking for your bank account number or personal information. I think we need to remind residents, especially our seniors, you know, the IRS will not contact you in that way. They will not call you and tell you that you have a tax problem and that you need to deal with it. And I kid you not, I even have it on my voicemail, because they left a message on my voicemail to call them that have a serious tax issue. So are you getting any of that? Are you getting
A few scams going around using the public utilities, the IRS. I'm going to address that in our webpage. We'll put an alert out to the seniors.
Okay. All right. Commissioner committee updates? Anyone?
Steve?
All right, we're gonna,
I do.
okay, go ahead.
I just wanted to let you know the Environmental Advisory Committee, they're working diligently on this rain garden program, which could be really nice for the township. I know they gave us a presentation, I think it was 2 commissioners' meetings ago. I'll be with them on Thursday night to see how their progress is moving along, but it could be a really nice addition to the township. And they also have been working closely with the Y on different issues over there in terms of keeping up with the Superfund site and that kind of thing. So they're really, they're doing a great job.
Okay. Thank you. Dan?
The Cable Advisory Committee, in the last month or so, the township purchased new software. That's reinstituted the crawl along the bottom that had been removed when we changed software, so it can put urgent updates. They're still in the process of dealing with some issues with Verizon and Comcast, so the quality may not be quite as optimum. In addition, the township has recorded 2 public service announcements, one about recycling, one about home safety, which are showing on there in addition to the commissioners' meetings. We did an interview with Mr. Gentili and Mr. Doherty about the the change in the program for the change in the dates for yard waste, and the goal is to continue to add more programming like that so that residents know what's going on in the fall, maybe about leaf collection, the best way to do that, those types of things. Through Commissioner Wexler's efforts, we actually had an announcer, broadcaster who conducted the interview with Mr. Gentili, making it much more professional. So there are more reasons, hopefully, to continue to look at the cable channel in addition to just the announcements and for people to watch us.
Okay. Also, I wanted to remind everyone that you can, if you don't have cable TV, you can watch the commissioners' meetings on YouTube.
Correct.
They're all on YouTube. You just search Haverford Township. So if you have a Roku or Apple TV or
Yes.
anything like that,
Right.
you can watch the commissioners' meetings on YouTube.
Have comments been disabled for those?
What's that?
Have comments been disabled for those YouTube videos?
No, it's live.
I do have one, not comment about the YouTubes, but a committee report in that it being July, in August, we will get the budgeting process underway. So the Finance Committee and Larry Gentili will be working closely on the 2015 budget. There, I said it, 2015.
Can't be.
Wow. Man, this year's going fast. It's already July. All right, I'm going to start the presentation for the, and continued discussion on the feasibility study for the police, municipal, and library design.
Sure, Mr. Oliva, as you recall, as I stated last month, we would bring back our study team and our consultants with Lori, Mr. Pannoni, Mr. Ryan, and Mr. Gallman to respond to the questions that the commissioners and the residents following last month's presentation on the building options. I believe Lori has emailed the board a copy of tonight's presentation. We ask that you hold your questions till after the presentation, and we will also have a copy of this will be posted on the township webpage tomorrow about 9 a.m.
Okay. And available on YouTube.
There you go. Hi there. We tried to take the questions that we did receive from the commissioners who forwarded any resident concerns to the township for a response. I think there were only 3 residents that actually submitted questions to the board members, but they're reflected in this Q&A. And certainly if any of the commissioners has any questions tonight, we're happy to answer them if we're able to. I'm going to ask that Chris Gauman speak to the first section, which is design and site layout, because he's the one who worked on that. Thank you.
Good evening.